You think you're still trying? No, you stopped a long time ago. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. One small moment, you chose not to act, and nothing happened. So you did it again, and again, and now you call it a phase. It's not. There was a time when it bothered you, when you noticed every time you avoided something. You felt it, that tension, that discomfort. You told yourself, I need to change. You meant it, at least, you thought you did. Ethan used to feel that. He would sit at his desk, laptop open, work waiting. He stared at it, heart slightly heavy. He knew what needed to be done, and he didn't do it back then. It felt wrong, like something inside him was resisting. Now, he doesn't feel anything. Same desk, same laptop, same work, but no tension, no urgency, no voice telling him to move, just silence and scrolling. That's the shift. You didn't notice. You think you're still fighting, but you're not, because fighting feels like something. This feels like nothing, and nothing is more dangerous, because now you don't even see it as a problem. You say, I've just been tired lately. I need a break. I'll get back on track soon. But listen carefully. You've been saying that for months, maybe years. At some point, it stopped being an excuse and became your identity. You're not the person who is trying to change. You're the person who delays change. That's different. Ethan doesn't plan anymore. He used to, schedules, goals, lists. Now, he just gets through the day, not forward, just through. That's how it stabilizes. Avoidance becomes normal. You don't question it, because it feels familiar, comfortable, predictable. You wake up, check your phone, delay your start, tell yourself, you'll begin soon. You don't, but it doesn't hit you the way it used to, because this is now your routine, not your mistake, your routine. Let that sink in. You're not breaking habits, you're reinforcing identity. Every time you choose not to act, you're not just avoiding, you're voting for the person you're becoming. And the scariest part, you're consistent, not in growth, but in staying the same. Day after day, perfectly repeating the same version of you. And now, it feels normal. That's how identity works. It doesn't ask for permission, it forms from repetition, quietly, slowly, until one day, you look at your life and realize nothing changed, not because you failed, but because you never interrupted the pattern. You adapted to it, you became it. You say, I'm trying, but your actions say otherwise, and actions don't lie. They repeat. That's all they do. Repeat. So, what are you repeating? Right now. Not what you say, not what you plan, what you actually do every day. That's you. Not your intentions, not your potential, your patterns. And your patterns are clear. You don't act, you delay, you don't decide. You postpone. You don't change, you reset again and again and again until reset becomes your lifestyle and change becomes your fantasy. You don't even realize when it happened, when I need to change turned into this is just how I am. That sentence, that quiet acceptance, that's the moment you stopped trying. Not the first time you failed, but the first time you accepted it without resistance, without tension, without a fight, just agreement. This is me. That's the truth. You avoid. Not that you can't change, but that you've stopped choosing to. And now, you're comfortable enough to stay. So let's stop pretending. You're not struggling. You're consistent, consistently choosing. The easier path, consistently avoiding the harder one. Consistently becoming this version of yourself. So tell me, if nothing changes tomorrow, if you repeat today, exactly the same, again and again and again, at what point? Do you stop calling it a phase and finally admit this is who you are? You keep saying, I'm stuck? No, you're not stuck. You've settled. That's different. Being stuck means you want to move, but you can't. This is not that. You can move, you just don't, because where you are is comfortable enough, not good, not fulfilling, not meaningful, just comfortable enough. And enough is the most dangerous place you can live in. Liam told himself he was stuck. Same job, same routine, same quiet frustration every night. He said, I just need an opportunity. I need the right moment. I need things to line up. But every morning he woke up and did the same thing. Alarm, phone, scroll, rush, work, disengage, come home, distract, repeat. No interruption, no disruption. Just repetition, that felt normal. That's not being stuck, that's being stable. Stable in a life you don't even want. Let that sit. You think your problem is lack of progress. No, your problem is tolerance. You've learned to tolerate a life that doesn't match who you said you wanted to be. And now, you call that survival. But it's not survival. It's quiet resignation. You lowered the standard. Slowly, silently, over time. You didn't notice it. At first, you had expectations. You had standards. You had a version of yourself you actually respected. Then reality didn't match. So you adjusted. Not your actions, your expectations. That's where it shifted. You didn't rise to your life. You shrank your vision to fit it. Liam used to say, I want more. Now he says, it's not that bad. Do you hear the difference? That's not growth. That's surrender. You didn't lose. You adapted to less. And adaptation feels like peace. That's the trap, because it removes the tension. That voice inside you, that used to push you, it got quieter. Not because you fixed your life, because you stopped listening. Now, you don't feel urgency. You don't feel pressure. You don't feel that sharp discomfort you used to feel, and you think, that's a good thing. It's not. It means you've accepted it, fully. You're not trying to escape anymore. You're decorating the cage, making it nicer, more comfortable, more livable, but still, a cage. You add small improvements, better routine, better mindset, better distractions, just enough to make it bearable, not enough to change anything. That's why nothing moves, because deep down, you're not desperate. And without desperation, you don't act. You adjust. You cope. You settle again and again and again. Until settling becomes your personality. You start saying things like, I'm just being realistic. This is how life is. Not everyone can have more. Listen carefully. That's not truth. That's justification. You're not being realistic. You're protecting your comfort, because wanting more requires action, and action breaks comfort. So you choose comfort every time, even if it slowly destroys you, quietly, without pain, loud enough to force change. That's the worst kind. Not chaos, not failure, but stability in the wrong direction, day after day. No collapse, no breakthrough, just existence. Liam sat one night, same room, same silence. He looked around. Nothing was broken, nothing was urgent. Everything was fine. And that's when it hit him. Fine is what kept him here. Not failure, not fear, just fine. You don't leave fine, you stay in it. You build around it, you become it. So stop saying you're stuck. You're not. You've built a life you're unwilling to disrupt because it's comfortable enough to keep. And that's your choice, every day. Not dramatic, not obvious, just quiet decisions that keep you here. So tell me, if nothing changes tomorrow, if your life looks exactly the same a year from now, 2 years, 5 years, will you still call it being stuck? Or will you finally admit you chose this? You're still waiting for something. A moment, a sign, a shift. Someone to notice you, to help you, to pull you out. No one is coming, and you know that. You've always known that. But you don't want to accept it. Because the moment you do, everything becomes your responsibility. No more excuses, no more delays, no more stories, just you. And that's heavy, so you wait. You wait for motivation, you wait for clarity, you wait to feel ready. You tell yourself, it's just not the right time. But time has passed anyway, days, weeks, months, and nothing changed. Not because no one helped you, because you didn't move. Sophia used to believe something would come, an opportunity, a breakthrough, a turning point, something that would make it easier. So she waited. She watched others move forward, slowly, messy, imperfect, and she told herself, they're just lucky. They had better timing. They had support. But deep down, she knew the truth. They didn't wait. She did. That's the difference. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck, movement, or the lack of it. You think you need more knowledge, more confidence, more certainty. You don't. You need to start, and that's the one thing you keep avoiding. Because starting means there's no one left to blame. No system, no timing, no external factor, just you. And if it fails, it's still you. That's what scares you. Not failure, ownership. Because once you own it, you can't hide anymore. You can't say, I didn't have a chance. You had it, you just didn't take it. That truth is uncomfortable, so you avoid it. You distract yourself, you delay, you soften the reality. You say, I'm figuring things out. No, you're postponing the moment you have to face yourself. You're not confused, you're unwilling, and those are not the same. You don't need saving. You need to stop waiting for it, because waiting feels safe. It gives you hope without requiring action. It lets you believe something will change without you changing anything. That's the illusion, and you've been living in it for longer than you admit. Sophia had a moment, not big, not dramatic, just quiet. She was sitting alone, scrolling. Again, same pattern, same feeling, and for a second, she stopped. She saw it, clearly. No one is coming, no message, no opportunity, no rescue, just this moment, and what she does with it. That's it. Nothing else is guaranteed. Not tomorrow, not later, not when things get better, just now. And she realized something. She had always been waiting. For permission, for confirmation, for someone to say, now is the time. That never came, and it never will, because no one knows your moment except you, and you keep ignoring it over and over and over until it becomes normal to wait, to delay, to do nothing. You don't feel it anymore, that urgency, that push, because you've trained yourself to ignore it. That's the cost, not failure, disconnection from your own awareness. You see the moment, and you pass it again. So let's stop pretending. You're not waiting for the right time. You're avoiding responsibility. You're not lacking resources. You're lacking decision. And decisions are uncomfortable because they force movement, and movement changes things, which means you can't go back. That's why you hesitate. That's why you pause. That's why you wait. But every time you wait, you choose this life again. This version of you. This pattern. Repeated. Perfectly. So tell me, if no one is coming, if nothing external will change this, if there is no perfect moment, then what exactly are you waiting for? And how much longer will you keep waiting? Knowing the answer already, no one is coming to save you. And deep down, you already know that. This video exposes the truth most people avoid. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're avoiding responsibility. At some point, you have to stop waiting and face the fact that nothing changes unless you do. You say you want freedom. No, you don't. You want safety. Freedom sounds good. It feels powerful. It looks like control. But real freedom is unstable. Uncertain, uncomfortable, unpredictable. And you don't want that. You want something else. You want to feel safe while pretending you're free. That's the trade. And you've already made it. Daniel said he wanted freedom to leave his job, to build something of his own, to live on his terms. He said it often, out loud, to friends. To himself, I just need the right time. I need a bit more stability. I need to prepare properly. Years passed. Nothing changed. Not because he couldn't leave, because he didn't want to lose what he already had. The paycheck, the routine, the predictability, the safety. That's what held him. Not fear of failure, fear of uncertainty. Freedom removes guarantees, and you depend on them more than you admit. You want to know what tomorrow looks like. You want to feel in control. Even if that control is built on something you don't even want. That's the contradiction. You complain about your life, but you protect it. You say it's limiting you. but you maintain it. Every day, through your choices, through your inaction, through your silence. That's not being trapped. That's choosing safety. Again and again and again. Daniel opened his laptop one night, started writing a plan, something real this time. Something he could act on. He felt it, that tension, that edge, that possibility of change. Then it hit him. If this works, everything changes. Not just his job, his identity, his routine, his certainty. Gone, replaced with something unknown. And in that moment, he paused, not because it was impossible, because it was real, and real is risky. So he closed the laptop, not dramatically, just quietly like always, and told himself, I'll come back to this later. He didn't. That's how safety wins, not loudly, not forcefully, just consistently. It gives you reasons. Logical ones, responsible ones, smart ones. Wait a bit longer. Be more prepared, don't rush it. And you listen. Because it sounds right, but it keeps you here, exactly where you are. You think freedom is what you want, but every decision you make protects safety, not growth, not change safety. And safety feels good. It removes anxiety. It removes risk. It removes pressure, but it also removes movement. Slowly, quietly, completely. You don't notice it because nothing breaks, nothing collapses. Everything stays stable. That's why you stay, because it works, just not in the direction you said you wanted. You don't choose freedom because freedom demands something. Action, risk, responsibility. And most importantly, letting go of what feels safe, of what feels certain, of what feels familiar. And that's the part you won't do. So you stay in between, not fully trapped, not truly free, just contained, comfortably limited. You build a life that doesn't hurt enough to force change and doesn't inspire enough to create it. That middle space, that's where you are. And you've learned how to survive there. Even justify it, this is realistic. This is responsible. This is what adults do. No, this is what people do when they choose safety over truth. And you know it, because every time you get close to something real, you feel it. That discomfort, that fear, that pull, and then you step back. Not because you can't go forward, because you won't leave what protects you, even if it limits you. So let's stop pretending. You don't want freedom, you want safety. And as long as safety is your priority, nothing will change. Not your life, not your direction, not you. So tell me, if freedom means uncertainty and safety means staying here, which one have you been choosing all along?